2. Now, the thing about this younger generation, Yavanka, we've seen it time and time again. They just don't let the player sitting opposite them get into their head. But right now, for Gukesh, he's playing with white, he's playing against Fabi. He's going to try to create as many chances as possible. The last battle, he started with a queen pawn opening and managed to get a little bit of play, but Fabi was rock solid. Really excited to see what he's prepared, what is going to be his opening approach. We can expect some excitement from Gukesh when it comes to playing with white and finding those novelties. Priyanka, I'm going to go back to the point where we left it, which was right here, because we were contemplating, is Fabi going to go g5? And he did, forcing the bishop back. He then played short castle. White bishop did land on b5 as we were looking at these lines. A trade on c3 because the bishop on b4 was hanging with a threat. At some point, he decided to simply reroute the knight immediately to the king side, and we saw that being played out. Gukesh first falls back with his knight, controlling some key central squares, and then another retreating move with the queen to d1. h4 is 100% on Gukesh's radar right now. Also, one other thematic idea I want to point out in this position for white is to try to break with c4. So these are the two breaks that Fabi has to watch out for. Meanwhile, for black, for Fabi, you have to try to break in the center with c5 as quickly as possible.
Yes, you do have to break out, especially if white just stands there with the king, right? If white castles kingside, then you can at least rule out the h2, h4 plan, and then you can try to gain some space. You know, you try to get that beautiful structure that we saw with pawns on c6, b7, d5, and you just build your position in preparation for a knight landing on e4. But if white stands there with the king and just immediately goes h4, then you have to do some kind of break. You have to just increase the pace of the game. Completely agree with you.
Keep on getting the king to safety. We also see he's managed to get his knight to the other side of the board. If there was any doubt in our mind about whether Fabi was ambitious or wants to keep it solid against the world champion, I think all of that's been put to rest. This is a game for all three results, Yavanka.
It certainly is. And I love what Fabiano is doing. You know, I like this maneuver of rerouting the second knight over to the king side, because let's face it, Fabiano's king is potentially a little bit weak. I mean, it has a lot of squares around it. And one open the king side with h2, h4, and then just coming in with the white pieces. But these two knights are a king's best friend. Did David Howell also teach you that expression, Tanya?
I think just playing chess the amount I have has pretty much given that lesson. I've learned it the hard way, sometimes the good way. You know, a knight is not only a brilliant attacker, the combination of a queen and a knight, we know how dangerous that can be. But like you said, you know, with your knight close to the king, it controls so many key squares. It truly is a spectacular defender as well. One of the expressions that David has is that a knight on f8 and there's no checkmate. So I think that one I picked up from him. That knight on g6 can land on that square at any point. It's just beautifully placed, not only for offense, but for defense as well, as you point out.
Yes. Okay, so we have this particular position on the board.
just took a peek, and the best move, and I see it also being mentioned on our featured chat, Gukesh has to find bishop to g4. And that apparently is the way to go. Well, one thing's clear, you take away the f5 square, so you also have ideas of f3. Be careful with this bishop, you don't have too many squares remaining. But it's a bit of a strange move, right? Because you're allowing the black knight to capture on g4.
Yeah, and I guess you're arguing that the knight on the f6 is a potential defender of the c5 square.
Yeah, not an easy decision. He looks like he's about to make a move now. You know, is he going to go bishop e2 or bishop g4? Will Gukesh continue this game?
Yeah, I'm also beginning to agree with featured chat that he's... No, the bishop comes back.
He comes back. And Fabi is looking at his score sheet and he's wondering if it's a 3-time repetition, if he was to fall back with the bishop to f5. And he does. It looks like he's about to call the arbiter to claim a repetition. And I believe it is one. His claim will be granted, Yamanka.
Yep. I also believe, but remember, you have to follow the procedure when you're claiming 3-fold repetition. You must write your intended move down, you must stop the clock, you must call over the arbiter and tell them that after you make the move bishop to f5 in this particular situation, that the position will have repeated 3 times, and there we see our first result of the day, and it's a peaceful one, despite starting off with a lot of fireworks.
A peaceful draw in a position that did have a lot of life, but perhaps Gukesh feeling that not finding his way forward because it's not clear at all, and playing against Fabi, who kept everything under control, not allowing the breaks in. And now they sit and analyze, but I think for Gukesh,